neck fat's popping up over your sweater here, buddy.
He likes it that way.
You're
like
so
some people
ripped.
likes to have their collar popped.
He likes him neck
He
fat
likes
popped.
his neck fat popped.
Him so handsome. He's like, come here, buddy. I know. It's okay.
Hey, it's Sue.
And Megan in the restricted section.
And today we're going to talk about our top 5 favorite books from 2016.
Yes. Yes, we are. And we're going to drink just some Blue Moon.
Yeah, some Blue Moon, a favorite.
Yep.
We've been kind of boring with our beers lately.
We have been.
We've also already drank like half of this.
Yep.
But Blue Moon's pretty good.
Sweet, delicious.
Wheat beer. Tastes kind of orangey. Tastes great with an orange slice in it.
A garnish of orange.
Yep.
Pretty delicious.
So, do you want to start or should I?
You can go ahead.
All right. My first favorite is Count Us In by Jason Kingsley and Mitchell Levitz.
Yes.
And this is kind of a series of interviews with them. They're two men who both have Down syndrome. And this was published in the 90s. And they were both in their early 20s at the time. I think Jason was maybe in his late teens, but it covers kind of a 3-year period and just them talking about their lives and yeah, just everything about their lives. There's sort of like each chapter is like a different topic about, they talk about school, they talk about, having Down syndrome, they talk about marriage and children and stuff, and it's just, I just thought it was wonderful and was like a really great look into, the minds of two people who have Down syndrome to better understand them and to understand that they most certainly can and do like contribute to society and
absolutely
lead happy, fulfilling lives, which, especially at the time when they were born, which was in the 70s, late 70s, I think. Yeah, people were just like, oh, your baby has Down syndrome, so put it in an institution and forget about it. Never nurture them and teach them, they will learn. Yeah, I just thought that book was really great and really important.
Very cool.
I think everyone should read it.
I think it sounds pretty awesome. Excuse me. I can't get my voice right either. I said We by Yevgeny Zamyatin. This is a dystopian novel that was written in the 1920s by a Russian author, and it's kind of like the great-granddaddy of the dystopian novels. It inspired George Orwell when he was writing 1984. I just really liked this a lot. I thought it was really cool to read a really early dystopian novel, and it was actually, I think it said that it was not published in Russia until like the 80s. Like it wasn't produced until then, I think I read somewhere. But yeah, I really liked it. I can definitely see the parallels between this and 1984, but the protagonist in this is much more likable than Winston is in 1984.
I need to read that. I also got down to reread 1984 because it's been like 10 years and I don't remember it that well.
It's been a few years since I've read it.
Alright, next is one that I'm sure you've heard us talk about
once
on
or
our
twice.
Channel, but it's
maybe once.
The Shock of the Fall by Nathan Filer. This is about a man who is trying to deal with his schizophrenia, and he's also recalling back to his childhood whenever his older brother died. And it just was very, I don't know, I felt like it was like really real.
I think so.
It seemed like a real honest, I mean, I don't know if the author has any experience with, having schizophrenia or working with people who have schizophrenia or whatever, but it seemed, just really real and honest, and I liked how the ending was like, it had a hopeful ending, but a realistic ending.
I think so.
And it just, like, it really got to me because in the book, his older brother has Down syndrome, and there's someone close to me who has Down syndrome, and there's also someone close to me who has schizophrenia, so I was just, like, hit me twofold right in the heart, and I was just, the second half of this book, I was just sobbing, like, on and off the whole time, and I read this, like, I stayed up super late and read this, and I think in, like, 2 sittings, but once I got into it, I read the first part of it, and then I read, like, most of the rest of it in one night, because I was just like...
It's, yeah. It just can't stop. I can't stop. It's really good.
Yeah, I really loved it. I don't know, it seems like most people don't love it as much as we did, but
I really love it. And I don't have any personal experience with schizophrenia, but I have worked with a lot of people who have schizophrenia, and I feel like it's a pretty honest... His efforts at getting treatment and then just kind of falling out of it and getting back into it and falling out of it, I've seen that. So I think that's pretty... That part's pretty authentic. Yeah. The next up, I picked a series, so this isn't one book, so I kind of cheated. This is the Cemetery of Forgotten Books series. The 4th book is out in Spanish, but not out in English yet. I just loved this series. I added it to my TBR as just kind of like I'm going to Spain, so I'm going to read a book by a Spanish author, and I didn't think really much of it beyond that, but then I ended up really, really loving it and falling in love with this author and with his writing, and I just love it. It's set in, like, Gothic Barcelona around the time of the Spanish Civil War, so it's pretty legit.
I was thinking of reading that for the Book Riot Challenge of Read a Book About Books.
Yeah, this would be a good one.
Yeah, I might do that.
This one.
Next I have another one about mental illness, and that is One Flew Over the Cuckoo's Nest by Ken Kesey. This just... it was just so good.
It was so good.
Don't even know how else to describe it. It's just, I think the way it was written was really brilliant because the narrator is a patient at this mental institute, and everyone thinks that he's deaf and mute because he doesn't speak or really acknowledge anyone, like,
right.
So no one thinks he can hear them, but he can, and so he's kind of
everything.
In a way, like, almost a little bit omniscient, because people will say whatever around him, so he knows everything that's going on. And he also the way he perceives things is really interesting because, you know, he does have a mental illness, and so he sees this whole place as like a machine, and it's really...
The people are part of the machine, like Nurse Ratched is like a monster robot or something.
Yeah, so the way he perceives his surroundings is really interesting. And then, you know, you just got a lot of themes, like, I mean, it's a good look at, you know, how people with mental illness were treated at this time. I think it was, the 60s, I believe?
I think so.
Which was horrible.
Terrible.
And there's also, like, there's sexism in it, there's racism in it, which I think were kind of products of the time.
Yeah.
There's also, like, there's racism toward black people, it seems, but the opposite, like toward Native Americans.
Right.
Which is interesting, but yeah, I thought this book was just...
It was brilliant.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was brilliantly
really
written.
Great.
Yeah.
I loved it.
Alright, the next one I have is Kindred by Octavia Butler. She's another author that I really fell in love with in 2016. I chose... I cannot get my life right. I chose this book of hers because I felt like I read this one and I read Dawn, which is the first book of a series that she wrote. And I felt like this one really stuck with me more than that one did. And this one I found kind of haunting. Like, I thought about it a lot, like, when I finished it. And it just had a lot of... Like, it was a cool perspective because it was like a woman...
Same computer.
Guess my computer restarted. Hello, friend. But yeah, it was just really a unique look on or look at racism, because it's a woman from the 70s getting like involuntarily time traveled back to the antebellum like South during like times of slavery. So it's a really unique take on that, kind of mixed with light sci-fi.
Yeah.
So it was cool.
My next book is A Brief History of Seven Killings by Marlon James. And I read this at the beginning of the year, I think in like January or February maybe, but I don't know, again, it was just, I feel like it was just brilliantly written. I am like kind of astounded by how this all came together, and because there's so many characters, it follows several characters, and it's kind of a fictional telling of the attempted assassination of Bob Marley that happened in Jamaica in, I think, the 70s. But it's more like he's kind of a minor character, and he's not called Bob Marley, he's called the singer in the book. But it follows all these other characters from, most of them are from like a gang in Jamaica. So I don't know, I found it fascinating. It is kind of difficult to get into at first because the Jamaican slang, for me, I was like super unfamiliar with that, and so it was kind of rough going at first, but once I got into it, like, it was just so good, and I loved the characters. There's one female character, and she was like a great character, I think. But even like all of them, I just liked. I mean, they're not all likable characters. Like I said, some of them are like gangsters and you
kind
know,
of
drug
people.
lords, kind of. So, but you still, like, I still didn't hate any of them either, though. Even though they were doing, a lot of them did terrible things, I still, like, felt for them in some ways, you know.
That makes sense.
And so I think that's, like, always great when an author can do that. Like,
That's good
make
writing.
you feel sympathy or empathy for a character who just does terrible things, you know, because they're still human, you know, and you can understand like how they got where they were.
Right.
So, yeah.
That's pretty cool. I need to read that. The next one I chose was one that I have not shut up about all year, and that is The Long Way to a Small Angry Planet by Becky Chambers. That's just a cool book about a bunch of different people on a spaceship that punches wormholes through space. And it's a very character-driven novel, which I really like. And it has like a really rich world that it takes place in. So there's lots of different races and cultures, and it explores those in the book, and I really like that. So.
And my last one is one that I actually didn't even give 5 stars. I had other books that I read this year that I actually rated higher than this. But I was trying to choose books that just like really stuck with me and that I still think about and I feel like will continue to think about for a long time. And so I chose Frankenstein by Mary Shelley. This book, there's so many different ways that it can be interpreted, and I think that makes it really interesting because 2 different people can read it and get completely different things out of it. And even me, like, that's why I think I still kind of think about it, because you think of like all the different things that it could mean. So yeah, I just thought
That's pretty awesome.
I thought it was really great. I liked it a lot.
Very cool. So for my last one, I said The Blind Assassin by Margaret Atwood. That's a cool book because it's a story within a story. So it's a woman telling her story, but then there's also a story of 2 lovers. And the man is telling the woman like a sci-fi story. So it's like a story, and it all works. Like I never felt disjointed or like I wasn't sure like how does this even go together. Like it really worked well, and I loved it. I had a like big book hangover when I finished that, and I recommend it to everyone. I've actually got it loaned out right now because I think everyone should read it. Smurfy.
All right. So that was our top 5 favorite books of the year.
Yes.
And I mean,
This is
we
one of
can
our
revisit
favorite
the
beers.
beer, but there's no point.
No. Because, I mean, we drink this all the time.
Blue Moon. We drink it.
It's one of our favorites.
I actually don't drink it that often anymore. But
I don't really either. But it's a good go-to, like, Smurfy. 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 Smurfy.
Yeah, it is a good just go-to light,
Easy drinking.
refreshing beer.
It is very refreshing.
Yeah. Most bars around here anyway have it, so
Yeah, so it's a good standby.
yeah. Yeah, let us know if you have read some of these books. Let us know what you thought of them.
Yes. And what are your top 5?
Yeah, what are your top 5 favorites this year? Give us some recommendations.
Yes.
I turned into a dog.
And Sue is now a dog. I'm gonna rub her belly.
Yes.
Yes. Hi.
He's like, what?
Did I hear belly rubs?
I only get belly rubs.
Oh, sorry, buddy. So yeah, that is our top 5. There's gonna be some links down below where you can find us elsewhere on social media.
And if you haven't subscribed yet, please do.
Yes. And so that'll be it for us.
Yeah. Thanks
See
for
you next time.
watching. Bye.
Bye.